everybody, my name is Morgan Karanen and I will be teaching our craft activity for today. So we're going to be making homemade pot holders, which is a relatively easy craft that you can do. So you only need 3 materials, which is a loom, a metal hook, and some cloth loops. I chose to do this activity because I actually made them a lot when I was younger. They make a lot of good gifts for different relatives or friends, and it's relatively easy to make and it's fun. So you can actually buy kits online. They come with all the materials that you need and instructions on the back. The kits are about $10 to $12, so it's a relatively inexpensive craft to do, and you learn a new craft skill. So here is a visual representation of all the materials that you'll need in order to construct your pot holder. So you will need some cloth loops. I have a variety of colors. You'll need 36 in order to make a whole pot holder. You can pre-purchase these, or you can just use old materials that you have at home. You will then use a metal hook as well as a loom. This is a metal loom, but you can use a wooden one as well. For the activity, step-by-step instructions and materials will be provided. At the end of the activity, you should have a pot holder that looks like this with a little loop on the end. You will be able to pick your own colors and pattern choices, so you can really develop your own creativity with it. The goals of this activity are to work on concentration and focus, boost your mood and confidence, stress management, and also learn a new craft skill. To begin this activity, you do need to pick your colors and patterns that you'd like to do on your pot holder. Once you've done that, you can begin to stretch on the horizontal side the cloth loops from one metal prong to the other. You're going to fill all 18 metal prongs and then move on to your vertical section. At this point, you're going to use your metal hook to weave through the cloth loops that you've already placed on your horizontal section. You're going to stretch the loops through the ones that are already on there until you fill all 18 prongs on the vertical side. At this point, you will now have a completely full loom, and you will crochet the sides so that it is closed off. In the next part, we're going to show a visual representation of the step-by-step instructions, and I will guide you on how to complete your pot holder. If you have any questions, please let me know. To begin your pot holder, you'll need to pick out your colors and set them off to the side. Then we will start placing the horizontal loops onto the loom. So to do this, you can pick any color or pattern that you would like to do, but you hook it on one prong and then stretch it to the one adjacent. So I'm going to be doing just a simple checkered pattern for this one with using 4 different colors. So you'll just keep repeating, putting the loops on the prongs until you've filled up the entire side. So once we finish placing our vertical section on our loom, we're going to start weaving through our vertical loops as well. So we're going to do this by taking our metal hook. I put one in here already so that you can have a reference of what we're going for. But since this one is over the loop, we're going to weave this one under. So I place the hook under and start weaving it through the different loops. I use my hand as a reference guide so that I can just kind of move the loops out of the way as needed. So once you reach the other side of your loom, you're going to take your next color, and this is where you can also get creative with your colors and your patterns, and you just hook it onto the metal hook at the end. I then use my hand to stabilize it and turn it to the side, and gently pull it back through the loom. Once you reach the other side, just lift up and place on the prong on the opposite side. Now, since this is not straight, I'm just going to turn this to the side here and use my fingers to push it down so that it lines up with our previous loop. So now we're going to repeat this process, weaving through the loom. So once you have finished putting your vertical section in, you should now have a full loom. So now we're going to crochet the edges in order to finish off our pot holder. So how you're going to do that is, again, you're going to take your metal hook, and you can start in any corner that you prefer. So we'll start up here. You're first going to take your hook and just unhook the first loop here. You'll then take your second loop and pull your first loop through, like so. And now you're just going to repeat this until you have this whole edge done. Just pull tightly and then grab onto the next one. Loop it through, pull tight. So once you do the final loop, you can move on to the next side. First, I like to just stretch a loop from the middle section here and loop it back on to the loom. So once you have one whole side complete, you'll just then move on to the next side that you have by simply grabbing it with the hook and looping it through, pulling tight, and continuing that process. Grab the pink one and loop the orange through. And you'll complete this process until you have all 4 edges done. So once you're almost done crocheting the edges, you're going to finish your last couple loops, and your pot holder should look somewhat like this. So on the last loop, you're going to go ahead and take it off, and then pull through the pink one here, and you'll just pull it tight so that will form the loop on the edge of your pot holder. You can now remove your pot holder from your loom and then just begin to stretch it out to get the little loops back in place. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull on it so I can get a more flat surface. And then we'll go ahead and fix our loop in the corner here. And now we have our completed pot holder. I believe that breaking this task down into step-by-step instructions was both easy and fun because I got to share a craft that I actually really enjoy. I used to make these a lot for both my relatives and friends as gifts, and I believe that this could be implemented in a long-term care facility such as a nursing home or a rehabilitative center for individuals that enjoy engaging in different crafts and activities. My recommendations for anyone completing this task in the future is to provide detailed verbal and visual instructions for your audience. You could also change this lesson plan by providing more examples of detailed designs that you can include on your pot holder. Thank you for participating in my activity.